Hello everyone. With Election Day only weeks away, the race between Harris and Trump remains tight across multiple critical states. As both campaigns intensify their efforts, one candidate is beginning to pull ahead, reshaping the battleground dynamics and setting the stage for an exciting finish. In this analysis, we'll dive into the latest polling data from all 50 states to show how the 2024 electoral map is taking shape. Let's begin on the West Coast with California, a stronghold for the Democratic Party. Harris leads Trump by an impressive 24 points in the latest polls, with her deep political roots in the state as a former attorney general and U.S. senator solidifying California's status as solid blue for her. Next is Washington, where Harris holds a roughly 20-point lead according to recent polling, placing the state comfortably in the solid blue column as well. Finally, in Oregon, the race is closer, with Harris leading by 5 points based on the last poll from July. However, more recent averages classify Oregon as likely blue, reflecting Harris's steady support across the Pacific Northwest. With these numbers, Harris maintains firm control of the West Coast, highlighting the Democrats' continued strength in the region. Over in the first battleground state of Nevada, it remains highly competitive, with Harris currently holding a narrow 0.6% lead over Trump. Notably, a recent poll conducted by a Republican sponsor shows Harris maintaining her edge, a result that adds an interesting dynamic to the race. While recent Republican gains, including the election of a GOP governor, have made the state more contested, Nevada is projected to lean Democratic for now, with Harris's slim yet significant lead placing it in the tilt blue category. Before we continue, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to stay up to date on everything related to the 2024 election. We'll be posting a new video every day until Election Day, and be sure to drop a comment with the state you're from and which candidate has your vote. Can't wait to see where everyone stands. Arizona remains one of the most closely watched battlegrounds this cycle. Although Biden carried the state in 2020, recent polling shows Trump with a 1.6% lead. Given Arizona's history of tight races, it currently falls into the tilt red category. However, Harris's team is actively working to shift the momentum back, meaning Trump will need to work hard to hold on to his narrow advantage. In New Mexico, the situation looks a bit different. Harris currently holds a 7.2% lead, slightly lower than Biden's 11-point margin in 2020. While Republicans have made some gains, especially among Hispanic voters, the state remains in the lean blue category for now. The Democratic Party aims to build on Harris's lead to solidify their position in this traditionally blue state. Over in Colorado, Harris has an overall lead of 12 points in the latest polls. The state has steadily moved toward the Democrats in recent years, driven by growth in urban centers like Boulder and Denver, along with changing demographics. Biden's double-digit win in 2020 reinforces Colorado's status as likely blue this election cycle. Turning to the central U.S., it's important to acknowledge that Trump holds significant leads in states like Idaho, Utah, and Wyoming, with margins ranging from 20 to 40 points in past elections. Montana also leans heavily Republican, with Trump leading by close to 17 points, reinforcing the state's red standing. Nebraska's 2nd congressional district stands out, where Harris holds an 11-point advantage. Although this lead may narrow as the race continues, the district currently falls under the likely Democratic category. The rest of the state, along with both Dakotas, remains solidly Republican, as do the states of Kansas and Oklahoma. For Democrats, Texas has been a target for years, but flipping it has proved to be a challenge so far. Trump currently leads by 6.6%, down from his initial 9-point victory. Although Harris's team has eyes on Texas, the state is considered lean red for now, with hopes for a breakthrough down the line as the state's demographics continue to change. In Alaska, Trump's lead is solid, as expected, while Harris maintains a strong position in Hawaii, a reliably Democratic state. Turning attention to the Midwest, a pivotal region for both campaigns, Harris needs to lock down Minnesota, her running mate's home state, as well as the key blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These states are critical to her road to victory, especially given Trump's ability to flip all three during his first election bid. With polls showing tight races across these states, the Midwest is shaping up to be a decisive battleground in the fight for electoral votes. In Minnesota, Harris currently holds a 6-point lead. While the tighter margin here is a little surprising, given that her running mate is the state's governor, Minnesota's long-standing Democratic loyalty since 1972 suggests it is likely to remain blue. For now, it sits in the lean blue category. Down in Iowa, Trump is favored to win, continuing the pattern from the last two elections, when he took the state by 9 and 8 points, respectively. However, With limited polling data between Harris and Trump, Iowa is placed in the lean red category for now, leaving room for potential surprises. In Illinois, Harris is holding a comfortable lead, ahead of Trump by 18 points according to their second matchup poll, placing Illinois as a solidly blue state. Meanwhile, Indiana is expected to favor Trump heavily, based on past voting patterns, with a likely double-digit lead consistent with his previous wins, making this a likely red state based on current polls. Turning to Ohio, Trump surprisingly only leads by 7.7%. Both Ohio and Iowa were Democratic as recently as 2012. But Trump's significant victories in 2016 shifted both states back into the Republican column. The re-election of both states' Republican governors by large margins in 2022 further underscores this trend. Ohio is considered lean red. 3 critical states remain on the map: Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Harris must win all 3 to secure the 27 electoral votes needed for victory, meaning that if Trump manages to capture just one, his path to the presidency becomes significantly easier. In Wisconsin, the race is exceptionally tight, with Harris leading by only 0.6% in polling averages. However, considering the state's polling inaccuracies in the last election, where Biden was predicted to win by nearly 7% but ended up securing just a 0.7% margin, the outcome is still highly uncertain. For now, Wisconsin leans slightly toward Harris, though it's classified as a tilt blue state. Michigan is also a highly contested state, with 538 showing Harris holding a less than 1% lead overall. Although some sources have suggested the race is tied, the data points to a narrow advantage for Harris. Michigan remains one of the most closely watched states, leaning Democratic at the moment on the electoral map. The Northeast offers solid ground for Harris, with several states locked into the Democratic column: Vermont, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Maryland. Washington, D.C. is firmly in Harris's corner, along with New Jersey, which leans toward her despite recent controversies such as the corruption scandal surrounding Senator Bob Menendez. In New York, Harris still maintains a solid lead, currently ahead by 14 points, a decrease from Biden's 23-point margin in 2020. For now, New York is considered solid blue for the Democrats. New Hampshire is considered lean blue for Harris, with a 6.7% overall lead in recent polls. Meanwhile, Maine is more nuanced. Harris has a strong statewide lead of 17 points, according to the University of New Hampshire. Historically, Maine has been more competitive than it appears on the surface. Clinton won by only 3% in 2016, and Biden by just under 10%. Harris is secure in Maine's 1st district, but the 2nd district continues to lean red, reflecting Trump's strong support there in the last 2 elections. Shifting to the Southeast, Trump's support solidifies significantly across many states. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama are solidly red. In Tennessee, Trump leads by a massive 26 points, and he holds similar double-digit advantages in Kentucky and West Virginia, ensuring a strong Republican presence throughout the region. South Carolina stands out as the only poll conducted between Trump and Harris shows a surprisingly narrow 10-point lead for Trump. Given the state's deep red reputation, these numbers are unexpectedly close, suggesting that Harris is making inroads even in historically conservative strongholds. While Trump still holds a solid lead, the tighter margin signals a race that could be closer than anyone anticipated. In North Carolina, a battleground state, Trump has never lost. His past victories included a 4% margin in 2016 and a narrower 1% win in 2020. Currently, Trump holds a slim 0.5% lead, making North Carolina a tilt Republican state. While flipping this state is a challenge for Harris since it's only gone Democratic once since 1966, she has led in 2 of the last 3 polls, raising the question of whether 2024 could mark the 2nd time. Georgia, with 16 electoral votes, is another key focus in this election. Trump leads by an average of 1.7% in current polls, though 3 recent surveys have shown a tie, making the overall trend harder to define. If Trump wins Georgia, he significantly strengthens his path to victory, flipping both Georgia and Arizona back to red, along with success in other battlegrounds like Pennsylvania, could solidify his chances. For now, Georgia remains in the tilt red category. Meanwhile, Florida has trended more Republican in recent cycles. Trump's 3-point win in 2020 and Governor Ron DeSantis' 20-point margin in the 2022 governor's race reflect this shift. With Trump currently leading by just over 5 points, Florida is classified as lean red. However, Harris has been outperforming Biden here, suggesting the margin could tighten as the race progresses. Now, we have the final two states, and both are extremely important. Virginia, a state that has long favored Democrats, is proving to be somewhat of a stronghold for Kamala Harris this election cycle. Harris is leading Trump in 2 surveys by 11 points and holds an overall lead in the state by 7.5%. Virginia remains in the lean blue category. The state's history of Democratic dominance and Harris's current lead suggest that it's no longer likely to be a battleground this cycle. While Republicans may hope to make gains here, the numbers indicate that Harris is firmly in control, solidifying Virginia as a reliable Democratic state in 2024. In our final state, Pennsylvania stands out as one of the most critical battlegrounds in the election. With 19 electoral votes at stake, the result here could heavily influence the overall outcome. If Trump secures Pennsylvania, it would significantly hinder Harris's path to victory. Even wins in Arizona and Nevada wouldn't be enough to make up for the loss of such a pivotal state. Harris is currently leading in 4 out of the last 5 polls, holding a narrow 0.6% advantage. As of now, Pennsylvania is classified as a tilt blue state, but the race remains very close. As it stands, current projections show Kamala Harris in the lead and on track to secure the necessary electoral votes to win the 2024 presidency. With strong momentum in key battleground states and continued gains in traditionally Republican areas, Harris could be poised for victory as the final weeks of the campaign unfold. Trump faces the challenge of reversing this momentum to avoid what could be a surprisingly weak Republican performance. Let me quickly explain the map colors, which indicate the level of confidence and margin of victory in each state. Safe states are projected wins by 15+ points, with little chance of an upset. Likely states have margins between 8 and 15 points, fairly secure, but not guaranteed. Lean states are tighter races with a 3 to 8 point margin, where the leader is favored, but the outcome could shift. Tilt states are the closest contests, with margins under 3 points, making them true battlegrounds. These colors provide a snapshot of how secure or competitive each state is, offering insight into where candidates are focusing their efforts as Election Day approaches. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for the latest updates as we head closer to Election Day.